Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here today at Suffolk County Police Headquarters here in Yaphank. I'm joined, of course, by our Commissioner of the Suffolk County Police Department, Rodney Harrison. I want to thank him for his leadership and for the leadership here in the department, and the men and women of the Suffolk County Police Department for the work they're doing for us each and every day. I also want to recognize Detective Sergeant Nancy Quattrochi, or Nancy Q. I was told I took a chance, and I hope I didn't butcher it too much. But she's the commanding officer of the Hate Crimes Unit. And I thank her for her work in that critically important area. We're also joined by the chair of the Human Rights Commission, Linda Perdomo Ayala, and somebody who intimately involved in police reform efforts and in so many other ways in the community. We're grateful to her. And we are joined, of course, by the community ambassadors that you see here. I actually mistook a couple for officers as I walked by them in the hall. But I want to thank each and every one of them for, first, their leadership in their communities. You're looking at a group of individuals who, many of whom I know personally, have done extraordinary work for years and some for decades in the communities here, which is extraordinary. So you're seeing here a collection of individuals who have had a profound impact on our region, on our individual communities, but on our region as a whole. So I want to thank them. We have from MDQ Majid in Bayshore, Hassan Ahmed, who's also a school board member. I want to thank him. He's going to be saying a few words in just a moment. And of course, our good friend, Rabbi Mendel Teldon from Shabbat, Mid-Suffolk, who will be saying a few words as well. Errol Akurek, the Turkish American Center, the president from the Comac School District, Debbie Verga, Quorum Civic Association, Irma Gluck. We have with us from the Hopog Fire Department, Chris Crean. We are joined by Ken Patrick Johnson, Gail Bailey, of course, John Caricato, Mary Reed, James Parada, Renita Certain. Did I miss anyone? I apologize if I did. All right. Thank you all for being here and for your leadership. So we're here today to address a problem that unfortunately has become all too prevalent across the country, and that is hate crimes. Let me be clear. Hate has no place in our county. It has no place in our country. It has no place in our world. Suffolk County is a vibrant and diverse community that welcomes individuals of all backgrounds and beliefs. We cannot and we will not tolerate any actions that seek to divide and harm our neighbors and our communities. Everyone here today is committed to taking action against intolerance. We're all actively doing everything we can to address this issue. The members of your county government have worked extensively with the Suffolk County Police Department to ensure our residents have the appropriate tools to ensure a safe and inclusive environment for everyone. As a result of our police reform and reinvention process, Suffolk County's plan created a Suffolk County Police Transparency Hub, where the public has quarterly access to data associated with hate crimes and hate incidents within Suffolk County. In 2022, the police department investigated 20 hate crimes, as well as 52 hate incidents, which are incidents that involve an element of hate but do not rise to the level of a hate crime as defined under New York state law. Additionally, hate crimes unit detectives reviewed or consulted on 383 additional calls that could possibly be deemed hate offenses. So, in 2023 so far, Suffolk County Police Department hate crimes detectives have investigated just this year alone again, 4 hate crimes, 28 hate incidents, and reviewed 92 additional calls. That's why today, for all of those reasons, for the statistics I just cited and the reasons I just declared, today we are proud to announce the creation of a new hotline for members of the public to address concerns regarding hate crimes and hate incidents in Suffolk County. This hotline will be staffed by trained professionals who will ensure that all calls are reviewed meticulously so that the appropriate action is taken. This hotline will be a vital resource and provide guidance and support for the people of Suffolk County who have unfortunately noticed incidents of hate or experienced them. We understand that reporting these crimes can be extremely difficult, and many may feel hesitant to come forward, but we'd like to say that this hotline can provide complete confidentiality to any individual looking to address concerns regarding hate crimes and incidents. It's our hope that the implementation of this hotline will serve as a bridge to create a better relationship between residents and the Suffolk County Police Department, something that every one of these community ambassadors is working on every single day. But as the Police Commissioner will detail more in depth shortly, this is not a replacement for calling 911. If you or someone else is in immediate danger, please do not hesitate to call 911. It is up to all of us as members of the community to stand up against hate and intolerance in all forms. Whether it's speaking out against hateful rhetoric, reporting incidents of hate, or simply showing kindness and respect for our neighbors, we all have a role to play here. So I urge you, join me in this effort, join us in this effort. Let us all come together as a community to reject hate and embrace the diversity that makes Suffolk County such a special place to live. With that, very proud to turn it over to our Suffolk County Police Commissioner, Rodney Harrison. Commissioner, thank you.
If I can just real quickly echo the sentiments of our county executive. There's no tolerance for hate in Suffolk. As much as this is one of the safest counties in the state of New York, we are still not immune to the crime and those who spew hate towards others. I've had an opportunity to meet with multiple community groups, residents who express their concerns, their frustrations towards hate crimes. And one of my priorities, as well as objectives, since I've been given this opportunity to be your police commissioner, is to take a look at how we are identifying, how we're investigating, and how are we holding people accountable that commit hate acts. So the first strategy that I put in place was taking a look at my hate crimes unit and what resources that they needed. Not only did we increase the size of our investigators, we put a supervisor in charge. The next concern that was brought to my attention was how are we documenting our complaints? We initially only calculated hate crimes and hate incidents. We will also start tracking bias incidents. The reason for this is to develop potential incidents that do not rise to the level of a crime, but may be part of a pattern or eventually turn into a hate crime or a hate incident. And identify individuals that may be committing these biased incidents and engage them with some type of educational information. Last thing we wanted to evaluate was how are our community members able to report bias incidents. We created a hotline for our residents to call if they do come across a hate crime, hate incident, and now a bias incident. And that's why we are here today. 1-800-852-HATE. This line can be utilized by victims, witnesses, residents with concerns about hate incidents that they believe are happening in their neighborhood. This hate line will be manned by our hate crime investigators Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. When the detectives are not in the office, callers are encouraged to leave a message and a detective will return the call. Like the county executive stated, this does not replace 911. If there is an emergency or a crime in progress, we encourage you to call 911. This hotline will also be in Spanish for our Hispanic community members who prefer to report the language of their choice. Hate crime detectives will also be working with our Criminal Intelligence Bureau. Criminal intel personnel will review these incidents with possible bias components to do what we call proactive investigations. For instance, tracking flyers distributed in a particular area by suspected hate groups or extremists. While these flyers are considered protected under the First Amendment as freedom of speech, criminal intel will be looking to see if there are trends occurring nationally, regionally, or locally. I want to thank the county executive for support in this initiative and its priority for knocking out hate crimes out here in Suffolk County. I had the pleasure of being with so many incredible men and women that are part of our community ambassador program, who have such a role in assisting in being our eyes and ears. I would like for a few of them to come up and talk and express their thoughts of this new initiative. I'm first going to have Rabbi Teldon from the Temple Shabbat of Mid-Suffolk come up and say a few good words. Rabbi?
Good. 20 pages.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the county executive and to Commissioner Harrison for your efforts in this regard on behalf of government and law enforcement. Because hate's a strange thing. Hate's a really weird thing. You can't ignore it, but you don't want to focus too much on it. The more you talk about it, the more power you give it. It's almost like a lose-lose situation. But in truth, if we know our roles, then we can move forward towards a better solution. Government's role is to put policy in place that promotes positivity and a better society. Law enforcement's role is that when there is hate, to deal with the consequences for the hater. And then there's the rest of us regular human beings. We can't just be non-haters. We can't just be anti-hate, because then we still haven't defined what we are, what values, and what purpose we do live our life with. We have to live our lives as beacons of light to ourselves, our families, and our broader community, to be the person that when someone else meets us, they walk away a better person, a more inspired individual and citizen here in America. But even more than that, when our kid tells us that they want to be a millionaire, we don't tell them, okay, be a millionaire in your heart. We tell them, get up early, work hard, and do what you're supposed to be doing, and with hard work, you'll reach your goal. So being a good person in your heart doesn't get you too far either. What is demanded from us is to be a good person in the street, in our places of work, and in our homes. To be ambassadors of light and goodness to all those we encounter. To do something, we have to be proactive people. Give charity daily to any cause, but be a giving person. Be a giver. Go out of your way to help someone in need. And go out of your way. That's a big deal when you go out of your way. And your family and your kids will notice that you went out of your way. Don't post that hurtful comment on social media. It has never, ever, ever changed someone else's mind. And instead, maybe specifically because you're triggered, because you're in that situation where it brings something up within you, view that other person as a fellow human being and reach out to them to make their day a little brighter. You never know who's hurting. You never know what they're going through. When you see someone doing something hurtful or hateful, respectfully stand up to them. Be an agent of change. Sadly, being indifferent is being a silent accomplice. For the Jewish community, the greatest response to hate is an increase in our own Jewish involvement. Imagine what happens when the haters realize that their actions have created prouder and more active Jews. Put up a mezuzah, light Shabbat candles, wrap tefillin. So when you hear about a hate crime, call the number and allow the government and law enforcement to deal with a hater. But for the rest of us, go back to doing what we do best, spreading goodness and kindness to all those we encounter. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to have Hassan Ahmed from Mosque MDQ. Hassan?
Good afternoon. It is my distinct pleasure to serve as a Suffolk County Police Department Community Ambassador with many of my colleagues here. It is further a distinct pleasure to be here and standing with the county executive, and the police commissioner in making sure our community understands there is no place for hate in Suffolk County. We are all one. Hate is an unfortunate poison, as Rabbi mentioned, that sometimes it may be better for us to not give breath to. So I will focus on our community ambassador program and at how it allows our communities to liaise directly with Commissioner Harrison, giving everybody an opportunity to feel they have a partnership and a bridge to the Suffolk County Police Department, and that the police department has an opportunity to engage directly with our community via these amazing community ambassadors that I have the pleasure of standing here with. I'd like to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for working together as one to ensure that in Suffolk County we can have a safe, prosperous future, not only for ourselves, but for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Son. I'm not sure if any other ambassadors want to speak, but I'll open up the floor for any questions. Once again, if you want to inquire about.
Okay, let's squeeze in here. Okay. Yes, I'm that short.
No, I mean that.
It's our pleasure to join the police department and to work with other officials, also all of the ambassadors here, that we're all working towards the same goal. We want our communities to be safe and to everyone to be happy living in that particular community. And if there's any problems, you bring them to the Civic Association, and then we report it to the police department, and it goes up all the way. So, yeah, do that. Will be a big help in doing that. And this way we can solve more and more problems, and the communities can open up more and feel more confident that they have us here and also the police, all the way, and all of our officials. Excuse me?
Your name?
Oh, Irma Gluck, Quorum Civic.
Can you spell your name for us real quick?
ERMA GLUCK. Okay.
No, Irma.
Thank you, Steve.
One more person's going to come up. I'm going to ask Mary Reed to come up and say a few good words. Ms. Reed?
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Reed from the 3rd Precinct. I've been around many, many years. I've served on the Anti-Bias Task Force and currently serving on the Unity Council for ICE of Town. Hate is a horrible thing, and you cannot describe it. It's here, it's within. But we working together can, again, make things better for ourselves, for our children, and for all the people that we work with. So thank you for this opportunity. I personally want to thank my friend Steve Ballone, and I want to thank the Commissioner for this opportunity and all of you for your time. Thank you.
Okay. I'll open up the floor for any questions.
When will this start?
So pretty much it started maybe about a week and a half ago, but that's why we wanted to make this announcement so people know about this new hotline and how to go about with the phone calls and who's going to be receiving the phone calls. And it's important that people utilize this line so we can do a better job of evaluating if there is a potential concern, a pattern somewhere, so we can work with our intel investigators. And if it gets to a level where our hate crime investigators need to go out and conduct an investigation, they'll be prepared to do as such.
When you look at the number of reports, what is your concern about hate crime increasing in Suffolk County?
Yeah, it's one too many, and I'm not sure if we how high the numbers are. I'll have Sergeant Q come up and talk about that in a few moments. But I think you can understand the way I'm going to word this. One hate crime is one too many. It's not about the numbers. It's not something where I want to sit here and say, hey, numbers are down. One hate crime in Suffolk County under my leadership, working with this phenomenal county executive, is one too many. And we're going to investigate each one thoroughly and make sure we hold people accountable if they do choose to commit a hate crime in this beautiful county that we live and work in.
How does this make it different from the way it is now? I mean, is this streamline the process of the information getting to the proper investigators? How will this make a difference?
Yeah, so I think during my talking points, I talked about that bias component, passing out flyers, somebody utilizing their First Amendment and using that to intimidate people, which doesn't necessarily result in us taking a report. We need to get this information. So now, if there's a area in Suffolk County where we're seeing this become a problem, or if it may be something that's stretched out throughout this county, at least we can now evaluate it and also maybe engage those individuals, letting them know that you're intimidating a group, a culture, and this is something that you need to stop with. And that's the reason for the hotline, sir.
I don't know if this is something for the sergeant, but where are the most hate crimes coming out of, and what group is being targeted the most?
So our hate crimes and hate incidents are spread out throughout the county for the most part. Most of our hate crimes and hate incidents target the Black community and the Jewish community.
Any other, I wasn't sure how many, how many for each community, or? do you have any more
They're pretty much,
specifics on
so they're pretty even between anti-Black and anti-Jewish incidents that we have. We have other incidents. We have anti-LGBTQ, anti-Muslim. There are other ones. They're just not as many as the bulk of them are anti-Jewish and anti-Black incidents.
The county executive spoke about the commissioner adding to the hate crimes unit. Can you tell me what kind of resources and additional efforts have gone into your unit?
Sure. So I have 4 detectives that work for me, and I'm the commanding officer of the unit. We do other things as far as the community outreach. We work with advocacy groups, such as the Suffolk County Interfaith Anti-Bias Task Force, the Human Rights Commission. We do the town anti-bias task force meetings. We'll do meetings with the Jewish Advisory Board and the Asian American communities. We have these meetings on a regular basis where we provide them with information about the types of incidents and crimes that we're investigating in the hate crimes unit. We also do presentations in our schools. We do presentations to middle school students, high school students. We have presentations in the police academy, in our civilian academy. We do training with our police supervisors, with our police recruits. It's really just, the more information that they're given and the more training that they're given, I feel like the better our unit is, and the better the community, it benefits the community.
And how will it work exactly? Someone is going to call the 1-800 number that you guys mentioned. Then from there, who answers that call?
So if the call is made between the hours of 9 a.m. to 1 a.m., and there's a detective or myself in the office, we will answer the phone. We encourage the caller to call 911 if it's an emergency. We want to make sure that the calls do go through 911 just for investigative purposes. We don't want to lose evidence by, having someone leave a message on our machine, let's say on a Saturday, and then we're not coming into the office until, Monday morning, and we're not getting the information or knowing about the crime until Monday morning. We're on call, by the way, 24 hours a day. If something happens when there's someone that's not working, whether it's like a hate incident, hate crime, or a possible hate offense, I will get notified about it. And then I will decide about whether I'm sending out a detective immediately or whether, it can wait until, a detective is working again. We want to make sure that people know that if it's a crime, that it should go through 911 if the phone isn't immediately answered.
Can you just identify yourself? First, last name to your title.
Sure. My first name is Nancy, common spelling, Nancy. Last name is Quattrociocchi. Quattrochoki is a proper pronunciation. I'm the commanding officer of the Hate Crimes Unit.
Common spelling, by the way.
She's known as Q.
And the other, I feel like the other benefit to having this, what we're referring to as a support line, is information gathering and just getting information from the public. Some people might be reluctant to call 911, even if they're hearing something on the street. It might help us solve one of our crimes. We rely on the community, on the public a lot in our investigations. And the more information we're getting from the public, even if it's just a call to 852-HATE, that's something that will benefit us in our investigations.
I was just asking, sometimes numbers are hard to read, so is your sense in terms of the threat out there currently? Is it worse? Is it better?
So it's probably, it's just about consistent with what it was last year. We actually have less hate crimes so far this year to date, but we have more hate incidents. But they're pretty consistent with last year's numbers. Our arrests are up. We're making more arrests. I think also that, technology has improved a lot, too, so that's helpful, and people are more willing to call in tips. We put out a Crime Stoppers tip, last year about a burglary that happened at an elementary school that had a bias component to it, and somebody, called 911. They had information. They didn't call 911. I'm sorry. They called the tip line, the anonymous caller, and based on their information, we were able to make 4 arrests in that one case.
Just so viewers understand, what exactly is a hate crime when they see one? Is it a flyer that they see? Is it
So I'm
something
going to
that's
say, I'm
to
not going to
someone?
define what a hate crime is because it's very confusing. As long as the public knows anything that has like a bias component to it, they can call. And then we'll make the determination about whether it's a hate crime or a hate incident or just, it might just be something that like falls under one of these other categories. But like patrol will respond to the call, let's say, if they make a 911 call. Usually a supervisor will be notified in that case, and then they'll decide they'll decide whether they're going to notify the hate crimes unit. But let us decide that. Like, don't hesitate to call. You might not think it's important, and maybe you don't want to bother the police. You don't want to go through 911, but just please call us and let us know about what's going on. And another point, and Linda just said it. Some people, they're afraid to call 911 or they're afraid to report something. Or if they're immigrants, they might be afraid. So if they call 911, if they call 852-HATE, they will speak directly to us. We'll decide if there's any sort of criminality to it, we will open up an investigation to it. And people can call, they can remain anonymous as well. They don't have to give their name, they don't have to give us their identity, they can put in an anonymous call.
Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Commissioner, want to take a picture with the ambassadors? Can we take a picture with the ambassadors?